Smile. You're on candid camera.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to our latest webinar, Staying Sane While Social Distancing. I'm Jennifer with the Greater Killeen Chamber of Commerce. And today we have three lovely ladies joining us to talk about things that you can do while you're stuck at home or you're trying to just kind of stay out of the public for a little while and do your part to flatten the curve. So today I have Michelle Suino, who is a spin instructor at the Armed Services YMCA in Harker Heights and a trainer at TITLE Boxing in Killeen. And she's going to talk to us about the importance of staying physically active, give us some examples of easy exercise you can do at home, and share ideas for staying active while you're social distancing. I've also got Jami Salter, who's the executive director at Vive Les Arts Theatre in Killeen, and she'll discuss ways for people to continue experiencing art online and creating art of their own. And then I've got Ursula Pirtle, who is the Education and Marketing Coordinator at Corrective Chiropractic and Wellness. And she's going to talk about mindfulness, ways to minimize stress, and holistic solutions and resources. So before we jump into kind of each of your areas of expertise, I'm kind of curious as to what, if any, new hobbies you guys have picked up during this time or new activities you've taken on to kind of occupy your time. Does anybody have anything they want to share?
Well, I have a 10th grader at home. So it's been 35 years since I've done high school trigonometry. So that's been fun.
What a fun new hobby.
Khan Academy, reminding me about the formulas for sine and cosine and tangent.
Oh, God. Yeah.
And then lots more outdoor time than I usually have time for, which I'm really grateful for.
Yeah.
Family time.
That's awesome. I've been spending more time outside too, and I love it. But the math thing, like they've changed math somehow. And for the younger kids, you know, they have this new math that I don't quite understand. So
math used to be logical and somehow they ruined it. I don't know. It's talent.
And they always told you like math is universal, it'll never change. But anyways.
Right.
Exactly.
Anybody else? Michelle or Jami, do you guys have any cool new hobbies or just things you've been able to do that maybe you didn't have time for before?
I've been spending a lot more time outside, and I have a new daily activity that I call fill a bucket with Lysol and clean the whole house. That's fun.
Oh boy. Things you never thought you'd do.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's great. Yeah.
Woo!
So you have to go outside to get away from the smell and the fumes and stuff.
Sometimes, yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I get that. Totally get that. How about you, Jami?
I've been spending a lot of time outside too. I bought a kayak, and so
cool.
Awesome.
Crawling up and down rivers because you don't have to be around people to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been singing an extraordinary amount of show tunes in my backyard to my dogs, and the neighbors are complaining. So
Really?
Oh,
rude.
That's terrifying. I don't go on stage because I make people's ears bleed.
And so
Well, yeah, I've definitely been spending more time outside. Nature is kind of my therapy. So when I get to be outside, it resets me and it kind of helps clear my mind. And I've always been a gardener. So I have taken on what's called a lasagna garden bed.
Nice.
That is not where you grow lasagna noodles. That's what everybody says. But it's where you layer the organic matter and you basically pile it on top of itself, and then it breaks down over time and then it feeds the soil. So I have like a 10 by 4 foot bed out there, and it's becoming a monstrous project, but it's been fun, and I've got the plants to put in it. So that's been my crazy quarantine project when I'm off. But yeah, I think we've all, kind of found that we've had more time to dedicate to either things that we've always wanted to do or trying something, out for the first time, whether it's reading or getting to catch up on a show or, trying out a crazy new exercise or something. So in that way, I think this quarantine has been beneficial for a lot of folks. But I know a lot of people are still kind of struggling with the, the day-to-day, like occupying their mind and time, especially if they're used to going out or participating in an organization or a club or something. So that's why we wanted to do this show, is to kind of talk about options, especially like local and online options that folks can access from anywhere. So if you are watching this and you have some cool new activities or resources you would like to share, please do that in the comments section. And as we go through, feel free to ask questions of our speakers and share your ideas and thoughts, because we really want this to be interactive. So with that, Michelle, would you like to start us out with some, ways to stay active during all this?
Sure, I would love to. It's very important to stick to some kind of routine every day, because if you work from home, live from home, never leave your home, and you listen to like Twitter or CNN, you can get really depressed, you can get really down. So exercise will help with that no matter what you're able to do. You need to get moving, get the blood pumping, which is healing for your body, and it'll lift your mood. And the experts are recommending doing some kind of exercise outdoors, because the UV rays have some kind of effect on the virus. So they say it's a little bit safer with social distancing. So you get that vitamin D too. I work for 2 gyms, and the biggest problem people are having is getting weights or barbells to work out. They're pretty much gone from the stores along with the toilet paper. So I have brought some things to show that you probably have in your own home that can substitute for weights. So there's no excuse. Even if you're working office work all day, there's no reason why you can't stand at your desk or walk in place at your desk, whatever you would like to do. So now I have a cord connected to my computer, and this is really heavy because I have it packed. So if you need a heavy weight, this is one of the best. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is one of the best things you can use is your check-in size suitcase. You can
I love it.
You can change the weights by just how many water bottles are in it. And you can bench press with it. You can overhead press. You could do all kinds of things. Now, if you're looking for a barbell, all you need to do is unscrew your handle from your broom, put a couple rubber bands on it, and we all have shopping bags or pillowcases, whatever you want to use. And you put it on the end, and then again, using your water bottles, you have one on each side.
That's pretty cool. Very creative.
Yeah.
After you've Lysoled everything and sanitized the broom head.
Correct.
That thing does not want to stay on.
Correct. So you just put one on the opposite side, and now you have a barbell that you can lift overhead.
Yeah. Very cool.
That's ingenious. I love it.
Okay, now inside the suitcase, can I see myself? You'll see how heavy I have this back. That's why it was a strain for me to lift it up. All right, this has sentimental value to me because I became back into fitness after the birth of my youngest daughter. We were stationed in Germany, and they used to have this little aerobic television show before Sesame Street on AFN. If you've ever been stationed overseas, you know it. And we needed weights. Well, I didn't have weights, and I wasn't like 100% dedicated. I'm going to do this. So I went out and I bought 2 giant things of baked beans. These are these, and these were my dumbbells. And as I continued to do it, I then went and purchased weights. But if you have any kind of heavy cans at home, they're perfect dumbbells to work with.
That's dedication too. Like you're like, I'm going to work out and I'm going to do it no matter what I have to use. That's awesome.
Right.
No excuses.
Also, you can just use regular water bottles, dumbbells. People are complaining about their lightweight. Well, let me tell you something. If you do a bicep hammer and a shoulder press, and you do that straight for a minute, 5 pounds each, you're going to feel it. It's going to burn like crazy. You just have to do more repetition.
And that's up.
Then, if you need a kettlebell or you want to go higher weights, everybody has laundry detergent at home as a handle, and it's a perfect kettlebell. Right? You need 2 heavyweight, 2 laundry detergents, or a big thing of water. So just look around what you have in the house, and when they're empty, you can just fill them up with water, and that way you can adjust the weight as well if it's too heavy.
And as an environmentalist, I love that you're upcycling things so that you're not throwing them away or having to
Exactly.
recycle.
I even
That's
read
great.
online because the hardware stores were still open during the worst of this. People were buying the buckets and cement. And they would put the bar, because it had a barbell, but it wasn't heavy enough. They would set the bell in the cement in the bucket so that they could have these big old,
Wow.
Brilliant.
And finally, for a resistance band, if you don't have one and you want to use one, you can use a towel. If you want to go hardcore, a bungee cord. So you have everything you need in your home to get that blood pumping and make yourself happier and healthier, which in turn is going to help you protect you against the virus because you'll have a healthy heart, healthy lungs. Any questions?
That was fantastic.
That's awesome. Alyssa says, good stuff. Rebecca says, what fantastic ideas, Michelle. How many of these things do we all already have in our house? Love it.
Exactly.
So
yeah,
these are things that like you see every day and you don't even think, oh, I could repurpose that into a,
yes,
this.
exactly.
I can just do some arm weights while I'm, watching a webinar or something.
Right. And even if you're not 100% certain, like if you don't trust yourself to do the process yet, you can order 2 large cans of baked beans for your grocery delivery. And if it doesn't work out, you can eat the beans. So, no waste.
Yeah, it's a win-win there. And you are still teaching some classes online, correct?
Yes, I do on Friday mornings at 9 a.m. on my Facebook page, Michelle's ' front row. I do a live indoor cycling class, mostly just to stay connected to my members. Some people have been taking my spin classes since 2007, and I didn't want to lose that connection with them. They were there for me, so it's my time to be there for them. I want them to still have a taste. It's been challenging for me because copyright on music, Power Music is put out virtual music you can buy and use to be on live with, but then you have to go through the whole process of learning the music and all that stuff. But that's why I'm just doing it on Friday. And then on Saturday morning, I'm doing an at-home workout on TITLE Boxing Club Killeen Facebook page. And we're doing there's 4 of us trainers that are doing some kind of at-home workout every single day. That's Monday through Friday at 5, Saturday at 9 a.m., and Sunday at 10.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's really hard when you have developed a workout routine. If you stop doing it for an extended period of time, it's really hard to get back into that. So the fact that you're giving people a way to maintain that is huge, because I know it takes sometimes a lot of willpower for me to get to the gym before all this, or just keep, that schedule going. And the slightest excuse, and I was like, I'll skip today. But now we have an even bigger excuse. I can't go at all or whatever. So having these options, these virtual options, is really great. And I think it's really neat to see how the gyms and yoga studios and just all of these trainers are coming up with, their at-home workouts, and also just videoing these recordings and things. And you can still support your local trainers and fitness experts by, subscribing to their Zoom classes or their virtual libraries. That's still very important right now. So if you're able to do that, I've been doing a lot of virtual yoga lately, and it's not quite the same, but it still gets me, the physical benefits.
That's
I
fantastic.
would like to say that I don't charge for Michelle's Front Row Bike Ride. It is completely free. It's on for 1 week. Yeah, I mean, these people have contributed to my life, so it's time for me to step up and be something for them. That's my attitude on it. And also on TITLE Boxing Killeen, we don't charge either. It's completely free.
Great.
And the thing that is going to be interesting to see is when the world comes back to a new normal, the workouts we're offering at home are different than what we do in the gym. So it'll be interesting to see how fast people's bodies will change, because then they'll go back to the workouts we offer at the gym, and that should shock everybody's system. So I'm interested to see that.
But that can be good sometimes when because doing the same thing over and over doesn't build new muscles or whatever. So,
Right.
And then, so Vive Les Arts asked, are you going to continue the online workouts via video after the restrictions lift? Do you think you guys will keep doing this, or you'll keep doing your weekly, video rides?
I think at TITLE Boxing Club, we will be offering some new classes because it was a chance to see if our members wanted to do like boot camps and things like that. So we're talking about that in the future. But no, I won't be going live once I'm back to work at the ASYMCA.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Cool.
The bike I got for at home, I got what I paid for. So I can't wait to get back on a good bike.
Oh, no. Do you have a boxing bag at home as well?
No, I have a very cozy home. I don't have spaces for that.
Yeah.
So I do a lot of 1.5 pound weights, 3 pound weights in each hand, and I do my boxing workout with that. I'm
just picturing a Rocky scenario where you're running up a bleacher set and you're just, like you're going at it. Like, I love this.
I'm a crazy woman that warms up her jog in the morning by doing high knees and pushing jab crosses down the street. And I'm like, hey.
I can relate.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Great. Well, did you have any other resources you wanted to share or anything else?
This is the time, if you are interested in any of the gyms that you are familiar with, to search them on Google or whatever, because everybody's doing free content online. So if you want to see if you're fit for TITLE Boxing Club or the YMCA or Peloton or Planet Fitness, Google them. Everybody has free content up.
Yeah, great point.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you for sharing those awesome tips. I mean, you're giving me a lot to think about now that I'm looking around my kitchen and, seeing all these potential
you got those big plants. You could best those.
Right? Hey, I was building that garden bed, like I said, and lugging logs around. So I felt really strong last weekend when I was building that. Awesome. Well, Ursula, would you like to go next and kind of talk about some of the things y'all are doing at Corrective Chiropractic? You've put a lot of cool content on your Facebook page, but also ideas that folks can incorporate into their daily lives.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. At Corrective Chiropractic and Wellness, of course, a lot of people know us as a chiropractic clinic, but the wellness is also a really big focus of what we do. And we do that in many different ways. We're still open. We did close initially for 2 weeks, kind of waiting to see what the governor and the Texas Chiropractic Association wanted us to do. But we are considered an essential business. So since April 6th, we've been open again, and we have lots of COVID procedures in place. So you'll see our staff in masks. Everything is, wiped down constantly, and between each patient, we have social distancing chairs. So it's, that part of it has really been interesting, and our patients really appreciate it. But as far as the wellness goes, we're always putting out wellness content on our Facebook page, and April is every year a stress awareness month, and I think we're very aware of our stress lately. So we have been trying to put a lot of content out there for dealing with, just stress in general, but the unique stress of the situation that we've been in since March. And what some of the things that we've talked about, the doctors and I put together a list of things that we feel it's really important to focus on. And really at the top of the list is reaching out to others. This is a difficult time for many people. It's important to remember that we don't all experience this situation the same way. We all have really unique lives. Everyone has different jobs, or they're not working, or they're essential, they're in healthcare. Some people have children of different ages. So we're all experiencing this a different way. But this is a really difficult situation for people who live alone, because they're not able to get out and see the people that they usually see. So reaching out to anyone that you know who lives alone or who just might be, additionally stressed in this situation, it's important that they know that you're there. Loneliness can be very detrimental to our health, and unfortunately, right now, the numbers for emotional and mental stress is going up, and unfortunately suicides are as well. So we really need to make sure people know that we love them and we're checking on them. And empathy is a really important emotion to draw on right now, because again, we're all experiencing this in a different way. So we're not always able to draw from our own feelings and our own experiences. So we have to try to put ourselves in other people's shoes. And, some people deal with stress through humor, and there's a lot of that on social media. And unfortunately, some people are taking offense to the humor, but I don't think it's meant to offend people. I think it's just their coping mechanism. So, if we can stand outside of ourselves for a little bit and just understand that, let's just try to see the best in everyone. Let's just try to get through this, as best as we can. Even though we're all experiencing it differently, let's get through it together and let's support each other instead of tearing each other down. Then it'll be just a much better experience all the way around for everyone. And the next thing is getting out of your house and into nature. That's number 2. And Michelle talked a lot about being outside and making sure that, you're getting your ultraviolet rays, that's what boosts our vitamin D, which is a really important, it's actually more of a hormone than a vitamin, but that has such an important role in our emotional stability and mental stability. And of course, we really need a lot of that right now. Fresh air is great for our lungs. And, this is great for all ages. And we don't want to be overexposed in the sense of, you don't want to be, getting a sunburn, but we can spend, 30 minutes at least a day outside, and that would be really great. And of course, the parks are open. As far as I know, Harker Heights parks are open, but the restrooms are closed currently, and the playgrounds are closed. So any touch equipment is closed. But just to be able to walk around and enjoy the beautiful parks, and I think Killeen's parks are in the same situation. And you'll see people, some have masks, some don't, or some don't. But people are maintaining their social distancing. But at the same time, they're saying hi to each other and they're greeting each other, and so it's a great thing to do with family members.
And the state parks recently reopened with some restrictions, which is great.
Exactly. So I will just keep double checking with your local parks. They're pretty good about maintaining their social media and websites and letting everyone know what's going on. But yeah, definitely getting out into nature. Nature has this way of giving us calm and giving us good energy at the same time. So it's a really great place to balance. And then the next thing we want to talk about is making sure that we're getting the right kind of nutrition, the right kind of food. It's really easy to turn to ice cream and comfort food when we're stressed, but unfortunately, those things really stress us out even more afterwards. So instead of just going for the short-term, I want this right now, and this is going to make me happy right at this moment, we need to understand that most of those foods, for many people, are things that cause a lot of long-term health issues. So right now, we really don't want to stress our immune system. We don't want to lower our immune system function. We really, our body is absolutely designed to take care of us and to protect us from things, but we have to give it what it needs, and we need nutrients. We need lots and lots of veggies every day, and we need fruits as well. The best source is usually frozen, because when these fruits and veggies are harvested at their peak and frozen, it kind of puts them in a suspended animation, and they don't lose as many nutrients as they do. But fresh is also great. We want to avoid canned as much as possible. However, right now it may not be as easy to get, fresh food. So I would definitely go for the frozen first, and get those frozen foods in your smoothies, make your shakes, and then make sure that you have veggies at as many meals through the day as possible. On the high end, we're supposed to have about 11 servings of vegetables a day. That's for the people who are like super holistic and we need to get all of our nutrients. For a lot of people, that isn't always possible. But definitely, there's also green supplements and other things that we can take. We've got a Facebook comment about from Miriam Barza. She went on a walk in Purser Park on the weekend, and she enjoyed seeing a lot more people being active and enjoying nature, but still being mindful and conscious, practicing social distance. Thank you, Miriam. That's a wonderful observation. And that's what we are encouraging people to do. Fantastic. So back to our food. We want to have as little processed food as possible. Just in general, we recommend, don't go eating out a whole lot. While we still want to support our local businesses and restaurants, when you do eat out, just choose, good food, things that contain a lot of vegetables and that can be more nutritious versus fried foods or foods that are highly processed. And
these are great tips, not just during the quarantine, but anytime. I mean,
right.
Eat fresh, eat local, try to not eat out a lot. So
exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. And those are the things that we need to try to maintain, even though we feel like we're living in bizarro world right now and everything is so different from what we're used to. The more we keep our usual routines and wellness practices, probably the better our journey through this is going to be. A lot of people are cooking more at home, which is fantastic. And this is a great time to explore new recipes and get inspired from TV shows or online videos or resources. So if you have the time, and not everyone does, everyone's life is a little different right now. But if we have the time, it's a great time to, try new things and get a little bit more creative. Once you are cooking at home all the time, you kind of get sick of making the same things over and over again. And your family's like, oh, it's spaghetti again. Yay.
More leftovers. So that's what I've been dealing with. Ugh.
Yeah. I mean, it in one way, it's kind of like, just get over yourself. This is food. Be happy you have something to eat, but we can also try to be a little bit more creative, try different herbs and spices and different recipes. And of course, we need to stay hydrated, especially as the heat is going up in Texas. We sweat more during the high, temperature days. So definitely time to make sure that we're not only getting our regular hydration, but we're getting even more than we think we need, because in Texas, we really need to stay hydrated a lot in the warm months. And if you have supplements, please take them and try to make sure that you don't run out, and make sure the kids are taking theirs as well. And if possible, not everyone can, but try to have at least one meal together as a family. And just, use that time to sit down with no TV, no distractions. Everyone's together, no devices, and, just fellowship with your own family and just check in on everybody and make sure that they're doing okay. So that's what I have as far as nutrition. Do y'all have any input so far from any of these suggestions?
I just want to remind our listeners that if you have questions or you have suggestions or observations of your own, please continue to share those. And I did want to just touch on, you mentioned, the importance of getting in nature. And there's so many studies out there that show time and again that there are mental and physical benefits. But there's actually a really good book about this called Last Child in the Woods. You may have read it, where it talks about vitamin N deficiency, vitamin N being nature deficiency disorder. So It's a really good resource if you're interested in kind of learning more about that and just the developmental benefits for children as well as adults. You know, it says last child in the woods, but it applies to all of us, I think. And it's a really cool resource. So just throwing that in there for anyone that wants to learn more.
Yeah, the connection for humans and nature is powerful, and it's something that obviously has been, you know, since the beginning of time, man has been part of nature, and in recent, you know, modern times, that connection is really strained because we have less time with nature, and it really is taking a toll on us.
Yeah. Nicole says her family. So that's one way that she's getting through this, and connecting with them, I guess, has been a great way. And definitely you can still stay connected to your extended family and your friends virtually right now. I know it's not the same, but at least we have those tools. You know, if this had happened 10 years ago, it might have been a lot harder, I think, for a lot of us.
It's hard to say, but I mean, these are such unprecedented times. We have never experienced anything like this, and we're learning a lot about ourselves.
For sure.
And we're learning a lot about our neighbors and our family and our friends, and how everyone is coping with this is a little different, and it really tells a lot about us and who we are. So I just hope that everyone is finding the silver lining and how this can bring out the best in them, as opposed to, you know, letting the stress really, really get to them, honest.
Yeah. All great points. And yeah, Nicole expanded on that. Her family, and then she enjoys dinner at the table together. So great point, Ursula. And Will shared the link to the book. So thank you for that. Did you have anything else you wanted to talk about or expand on?
Sleep is such an incredibly important health tool for us. Having the right amount of sleep every night is detrimental to our health, or not, if we're not getting enough, I should say. But it is absolutely imperative to our health to get the right amount of sleep. So our physical, mental, emotional health, all these things are drastically affected. And there's a whole hormone cascade, scientific anatomy, physiology that I don't have time to get into, but just understanding that our stress hormones are highly affected by the amount of sleep that we get. And so we don't want to have too little sleep. And there are charts online that you can look at for your family members. Adults, we're looking at 7 to 9 hours of sleep a night. And believe it or not, you don't want to go over. You don't want to have too much sleep. That's not good for the body either. So some people are coping with all this by getting lots and lots of sleep and a little bit too much. So we still need to make sure that we're getting an adequate amount of sleep. Again, check out those charts online, but for adults, we're looking at 7 to 9 hours. And then if you are having trouble falling asleep, or if you're having trouble staying asleep, there are sleep hygiene procedures or recommendations to follow. And probably the most important one is going to be a routine. Go to bed at the same time every night and wake up at the same time every day. And this is 7 days a week. So those routines are really important. And if you're having trouble falling asleep, make sure that you're not using any kind of device for at least an hour before you're going to bed. And that's because that blue light is very stimulating to the brain. And human beings, we've been around for millennia, and we have certain things that are inside us, and circadian rhythm is part of that. And the hormone melatonin is released when it gets dark outside, and that's our sleep hormone. That's the one that makes us tired and sleepy, and the good kind of sleepy. So we want to make sure we're not using devices, because those really interrupt the melatonin production and the timing of our bodies. But also most of the things that we're doing on devices tend to be either very stressful or very stimulating. And those are two things you definitely don't want right before you go to bed, because,
Yeah.
you know, there's so many people, they're like, well, I close my eyes and I lay my head down and I can't shut my brain off. Well, we just stimulate the brain. We just stressed out the brain. So yeah, it's going to be hard to shut it off. So definitely making sure that, you know, if you're reading a book, believe it or not, that's really different than reading a device. So just an old-fashioned book or magazine, but something positive, not something scary or stressful. Definitely you don't want to be watching the news right before going to bed or anything like that. So, or prepare for your next day, look at your schedule for tomorrow, but just find ways to unwind, and just find what works for you. Of course, you want to be comfortable. And another thing, again, to release the melatonin, the sleep hormone, is your room should be pitch black. No night lights, not even for children, no kind of weird street lights coming through, you know, so do what you can, hang up some sheets or whatever, put up blackout shades, wear a little mask over your eyes. But you should not be able to see your hand in front of your face. Like, because again, you know, humans have been around for many, many years. Electricity is 150 years old. So, and we're still the same humans we were a long time ago.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up the devices, because that's the biggest thing that I keep hearing in all of the articles I'm reading and, you know, podcasts and everything, is put the phone down an hour before. And I'm not great at this either, because there's always just, oh, let me look that up or let me check. But, you know, that's a big one, to turn your brain off. And then the darkness thing, you know, I've always had trouble if there was any light falling asleep. So it's good to know that I'm not a total weirdo, because most people need some kind of light or noise, and I need it pitch dark and quiet. But yeah, turning your brain off, I think, is a big part of this. And to this point, Will is asking, do you recommend blue light blocking glasses or over-the-counter melatonin? So I'm thinking the blue light glasses would be more for looking at screens all day, not necessarily sleeping, because you want to not have that at all. But
so specific to sleeping, the blue light glasses or the blue blocker glasses, or, you know, having an app that creates
turns
more of an amber background as opposed to a, you know, ultralight background, is somewhat helpful, but again, still not recommended for an hour before going to bed. As far as the melatonin goes, I don't recommend it. If you are in a situation where you are in, the sleep is like, I absolutely have to get to sleep, I haven't been able to sleep for days or weeks, I would use it for a very short amount of time. But how the body works is, it's not going to produce a hormone if you're giving it a hormone. So if you're artificially taking something in, the body will stop producing it by itself. So you're really going to cause a lot of long-term problems that way. So, you know, we need our body to do what it's designed to do. And instead of fighting against it, we really need to work with it.
So creating the, I guess, habits and the atmosphere for it to thrive versus just giving a pill or a supplement to it.
I really appreciate William's question. That is a great question. But yeah, instead of adding artificial melatonin into your body, help your body to create its own and to do what it is designed to do. You'd be amazed if once you work with your body instead of against it, how much easier everything is and how much healthier and how better you're going to feel.
Yeah. Miriam says, definitely don't check your credit card statement before bed. Speaking of doing stressful things right before you go to sleep.
Excellent advice, Miriam. Yeah. Nothing that you're going to go, you know, so you don't, you want to be able to relax that brain and shut it off. And you were talking about doing yoga. There's some really great yoga videos online about preparing the body for bed through relaxing yoga. You can also, one of the things I like to do sometimes is I put on some background noise, some white noise, some, you know, that music that they play at your favorite massage therapist place. And just, you know, you can set a timer for it on your phone or however you want to do it. But yeah, you just want to do something that creates a relaxing atmosphere that you can wind down and then, go to sleep, because sleep is absolutely precious.
Definitely.
And diffusing lavender oil, or, make sure you're not having caffeine in the second half of the day. Don't have a big meal right before going to bed. Those are all common sense things. The lavender oil, of course, is not everyone knows about that, but if you have a diffuser at home and if you have a good quality essential oil, it has to be therapeutic grade, then make sure that, that's works for a lot of people. Not everyone likes lavender oil. Some people have issues with it, but it's universal. Almost everyone likes it, and it helps most people.
Good. Yeah. And these are all natural things that don't bring in a lot of chemicals and, into your house at a time when you're trying to, you're already sanitizing a lot. So that's great.
Exactly.
I do want to touch on something real quick. I've read that a lot of folks, because like you said, our hormones are going crazy and our thoughts are all over the place. A lot of folks are having either more vivid dreams, or they're, like in my case, I'm actually remembering some of the dreams I'm having. And this seems to be very common in times like this where people are going through a very emotional experience. Have you guys, looked into that or noticed that? And is that just kind of a typical phenomena for an event like this? I know we haven't had exactly an event like this before, but a traumatic event, I guess.
I'm remembering my dreams a lot more lately too, and they're really weird, and I don't like it.
Yeah, they're very weird.
So
it's happening.
We go through sleep cycles, and there are different things that we're all experiencing in different ways. Of course, we had a storm night before last too, so that was part of the reason that I didn't sleep very well. But yeah, what do you guys think, Michelle, Jami?
I don't know if Jami is able to hear you right now. We're trying to get her back on the line, but we're talking about the dreams and whether you guys have noticed a difference in how you've experienced dreams or remembered them or anything.
Mine have been going crazy.
Yeah, that's what we've experienced.
Ursula earlier, when I could hear her, was listing off all the things you shouldn't do before you go to bed, and I've been a notorious insomniac my entire life. I sleep with the lights on. The last thing I do before I go to bed at night is watch CNN just to make sure the world hasn't exploded. And apparently I need to change my habits. So that's something I'm going to take into account, because I haven't slept all the way through the night since it started. So
wow.
I would assume that I'm doing things wrong.
Yeah.
I also feel personally attacked by the ice cream statement.
I feel seen.
None of it is intended for you. But yeah, it's I mean, I on TV, when you see a sitcom, they always turn to ice cream every time they're stressed. So that's what I was thinking of.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's hard, and everything is moderation, right? Of course, if ice cream makes you happy, there are times when, go ahead and have a little bit of it for sure. But yeah, I'm curious, Jami, if those some of these tips will help you with your sleep, because I would really love for you to get much better sleep every night.
So she's asking if she's curious to see if any of those tips help with sleep, Jami, because it is so important and everything. So you'll have to follow up with us and let us know if you start doing some of those things.
I promise that I will, and I'll try to start doing that tonight.
Good. I think another big thing is just don't check social media for the hour or two before bed, because I know that triggers me a lot. I'm like, just don't read it. I don't want to see it. It's like the news, I need to calm down. Michelle, were you going to say something regarding the dreams and the processing?
I think it's interesting. I think it's part of human nature, because our worlds have gotten much, much smaller since the mid-March. So I think our brain has some kind of aspect of creating some kind of drama. Nobody wants to have drama, but if you're not out into society, there's less gossip and stuff. So is our brain compensating by giving us dreams that are not nice to remember?
That's a good point. Yeah.
Isn't it interesting?
Yeah. And we're also, I think, we hear that dreams are our way of working through problems when our emotions are turned off. So maybe it's a combination of all that. Is we're trying to figure it out, and we're trying to like
Mm-hmm.
get back to our normal. So
Right.
interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Awesome.
Yeah, I think we need to be really cautious with technology use right now. You know, I'm guilty, like a lot of people. I've been binge watching a little bit more than usual, and I've really had to kind of pull back on that and be like, okay, I don't need to see every episode of this in a 2-week period. You know,
I got to eat at some point.
or, you know, if we do watch something, let's do it as a family, or do it with somebody, you know, in the household with you, and have conversations through it and talk through it. Or, you know, if that's a way for you to connect with a friend or family member that lives away from you and you don't get to see them, hey, let's watch this show together. I mean, there's definitely positive ways to use technology and to watch, you know, I mean, Netflix, I'm amazed they haven't crashed, because everyone is just using it, all the different streaming services so much right now. But we're also spending, and this is, again, for everyone is a little bit different. This is not the case for everyone, but for a lot of people, they're spending a little bit more time on the couch and sitting than they usually do. So that's something we just really need to be aware of, you know, and when we are creating structure, which we're going to talk about in just a minute, that's going to help us a lot as well. But there's different ways to use technology. You know, I mean, we can get on social media and just, you know, get in an argument with somebody over some post, or, you know, and just really stress ourselves out. Or, you know, we can strive for everything, you know, any tech use that's beyond school and beyond work. You know, we want it to be interactive in a positive way. It's a great time to educate yourself and take some online classes, or, you know, to inspire yourself and others. So for the month of April, on my personal Facebook page, I've had a SGN, Some Good News, inspired by John Krasinski.
I love that show.
Mm-hmm.
And so every day I've posted some good news, and I've tried really hard to not put anything controversial or negative at all really on my page, even though, you know, I actually personally did lose people in the past month, 3 people, 2 relatives and a friend to the coronavirus.
So I'm so sorry.
I appreciate that. Thank you. But it's, you know, it's hard. These are difficult times, and we're all experiencing this a difficult way, but we need to lift each other up. We need to stay positive. You know, it's so easy to fall into the trap of politics or all the controversy surrounding this virus. And, you know, it's important that we're all educated on it, but that we're not tearing each other down because, you know, we believe this one thing or the other. Yeah, we're all different, and we all have different ways of thinking, and we all have different beliefs and values. But, you know, in the end, we still have to get through this together and still come back to each other in a world that's not torn apart. So, you know, just trying to stay positive and lifting people up, I think, is really important. And we need to not overwhelm ourselves. We need to not constantly be, you know, commenting on all the negativity on someone else's page, or maybe instigating on our page, you know, when we're on social media. So I think that's really important.
It's definitely a balancing act between staying informed and connected and trying and not falling into that, you know, tunnel of just Facebook, reading the comments, responding to the comments, getting angry, and the next thing you know, you're all worked up and your day's ruined.
First of all, it really stresses us out. Second of all, it's a huge time suck. Like it's
not productive.
A ridiculous amount of time, and in the end, it's not very productive.
You don't change anyone's mind.
And setting limits for ourselves, and if you have children at home, for them, for the use of technology, I think is really important as well. Just be mindful of how much we're using this, because it's probably a lot more than we were doing it before. And if you've never set limits on yourself or your children, it's the good time to start.
For sure. Yeah. I personally haven't had the issue with TV. I never, let myself watch much TV before this, but my big thing now has been playing board games online. I found some sites that have just sucked a lot of my time away, and I'm like, oh boy, I need to get to bed, or I need to, finish doing that before I play another game.
Work with friends and things like that are really popular right now.
Yeah, at night that's kind of been my social life since I can't, go out, and I'm like, all right, Jennifer, you need to reel this in. Get it under control. Wow, so you've given us so much to think about. Did you have anything else you wanted to share with our viewers or listeners?
Just going back to creating structure and a schedule. If you don't have a schedule, since life has been just so weird and strange lately, we don't know how much longer this is going to last. In the beginning, we didn't know. We were prepared. It just kind of hit us all of a sudden. But now we're at a point where we've like, okay, this isn't working, or maybe it is what you've been doing. But if what you have been doing isn't working, if life is just a little too chaotic at home, go back to structure. Go back to, I'm getting up at this time. This is my morning routine. I'm going to eat at these times. I'm going to work at these times. I'm going to make time for play at these times. I'm going to relax at this time. I'm going to have family time at this time. And I'm going to, turn off my devices and have my evening routine starting at this time. So even if you've never had structure, I think you'll find that it is such a great way to get through a stressful situation, and the world won't seem so off balance and off kilter when we have structure in our lives.
For sure. Do you have any suggestions for apps or websites or tools that people can access to maybe help them set that up if they don't, like checklists and things like that?
There are so many out there. Evernote is a good way to kind of put all your information in one place and schedule tasks. Habitify, I think, is the name of the app, which helps you track habits. But I mean, there's just a bajillion apps out there, and apps are always very personal preference. Yeah. So just find what works for you. But also, if you are just using a planner, a paper planner, that's a great tool as well.
Yeah.
And a calendar, and, create a family calendar so everybody knows what's going on and what's expected of who at what time, or who has what chores, or, just create some continuity, some structure of some kind.
And I think it's important to point out, like you said, there is no one size fits all. One thing won't work for everyone, but try different things, find what works for you, and don't expect it to happen overnight. It takes 6 weeks or something to create a new habit, and a really long
habit and the person. Yes.
Yeah. So it can take a long time. And if it doesn't stick right away, just remember that and kind of keep trying. Don't just give up after a week or something. Right now is the time to do it without the distractions, and when you're actually at home to do some of these things. So
yeah. But I'm really looking forward to what Jami has to say about art and creativity.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. Well, with that, if you don't have anything else, I guess we'll move on to Jami, if she can hear me. Are you good?
I can,
awesome. Yes. I think we've had a few connection issues, but hopefully we can hear everything you have to say. So Jami, give us some ideas for ways that folks can either maintain their creativity or start, doing creative activities while they're, self-quarantining.
Okay. So my expertise is largely in theater, which is obviously a community project. It's not something you can do alone. Even a one-woman show requires somebody to turn on the lights and make sure you can be heard, and an audience to participate with. And while VLA is slowly opening back up, we actually have a show planned in June. Until then, I've been trying to stay busy at home. I've been doing a lot of mediocre painting, but at least it's painting. I'm a gardener as well, and I haven't done lasagna gardening, but I'm working my way up to actually being able to grow a tomato.
You've got Victory Garden going on. I love it.
That's what I have. When all this started, I was like, I can grow tomatoes because I couldn't find them at the grocery store. So we're working on it, the kids and I. And I couldn't hear Ursula at all. But I know that she mentioned some television shows and some things to watch that maybe are not streaming Tiger Media or Tiger King all the way through, which doesn't sound like a good idea in any way, shape, or form. There are a couple of things that you can participate with online. There is something called Quarantine Cabaret, and it is actors at home singing and performing for you, and it's on Facebook. It's fantastic, and it's everybody from professional actors to people that stay at home just to sing. There are several shows that have put together sing-alongs at home. So Hamilton did it first.
Yes, it was awesome.
Everybody stayed at home and sang Hamilton song, and then they sent it into the people on Broadway, and they
that was great.
Wasn't
Ham at Home, their Ham at Home thing,
Ham at Home. Yes, and Edu Ham at Home is now open. So if you've got kids at home, and it's free, and it's all the history involving the American Revolution and how you can use Hamilton to teach it to your children. It's wonderful. My daughter's obsessed with it. She's 14, and she obviously loves musical theater because she couldn't with me as her parent. But she loves Hamilton, and she's now weirdly a 14-year-old girl obsessed with the American Revolution. So she's been going all the way through EduHam at Home. But there are other things that you can do. I've been trying to avoid, I am capable of watching national news for 12 hours at a time. Wow. And it's bad. It's terrible for you. It's the same thing over and over again. For sure, stay informed. For sure, stay on top of what's going on in the world around you. But there's no reason to sit at home and stare at a national news site for hours and hours and hours on end. I'm a museum rat. When I go on vacation to a big city, the first thing that I do is find all of the museums that I can go to. And there are a bunch of websites that you can find online. Google Arts and Culture, which is just, if you go to Google's website and type in arts and culture, it will take you to, I think that every museum on the planet is in there. And you can do virtual walkthroughs of thousands of museums around the world. The Louvre, all the Smithsonians are in there. I took a trip to DC and didn't go back to my hotel room for hours because all those museums were free. And there's never something to not see. That's not the right way to put that, but you know what I'm saying.
There's no shortage,
there's no shortage
activities, in DC.
Absolutely not. A bunch of other people have been doing a lot of streaming online. The National Theatre out of London has been streaming their plays that they've done in the past, especially the original plays that have shown up there. Dracula opened last night. No, I'm sorry, Frankenstein with the guy that plays Doctor Strange.
Benedict Cumberbatch.
Benedict Cumberbatch. Yes.
Oh,
nice.
Wow.
And he's wonderful. I watched it last night. He's amazing. It's a wonderful production of the show. And they have
they get some really big names at that theater, so
they do. It's the
awesome.
preeminent theater in Great Britain, and it's wonderful. So if you get a chance in your theater and you're interested in theater, that's a great place to start. Broadway.com has a whole lot of streaming musical theater titles out of the United States. It's wonderful. I could go on for hours. I know that Ursula mentioned John Krasinski's show, Some Good News.
I love it.
They will often have amazing work coming up.
Speaking of Hamilton, that Hamilton episode they did, it gave me chills.
I know.
I cried.
With the original cast, I cried. I was like, this is the original cast. Anyways, geeked out.
And I don't know if everybody else saw it, but a little girl was like, I had tickets to Hamilton, but the quarantine closed Broadway, which has been dark since it started. And John Krasinski had gotten with Lin-Manuel Miranda, the writer and creator of Hamilton, and got the entire original cast back, and they did a big Zoom call.
Oh,
it was
great.
Wonderful.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
So a little closer to home, if there's some stuff that you're interested in, the Dallas Fort Worth, or the Dallas Opera and the Fort Worth Opera are both streaming online. And the Dallas Theater Center is doing some stuff as well, which is a little closer. Until you're waiting for your tickets for VLA.
Right.
Yeah, I've had I subscribed to the Austin Broadway shows, and 2 of my shows have canceled on me, and I'm just so sad. I'm like, because, first they were going to reschedule, then they couldn't. So I'm like, I'll get to see a show again someday in person.
Someday, I know. And I've had a bunch of patrons contact me, and several of the people that I know in the area that are asking why VLA hasn't live streamed. And the first reason is because in order to really do a play successfully, obviously we all have to be in the same building. Mm-hmm. We could Zoom it, but Michelle mentioned earlier copyright laws. We can't just willy-nilly throw out into the public work that other people have done. Mm-hmm. And getting those copyright licenses to do live streaming is difficult at best. Most people don't even allow it. So we're waiting for June.
Yeah. No, that's understandable. And it's not just like, if your theater's having this issue, that means those companies are getting bombarded with hundreds of theaters across the country trying to do that. So
absolutely,
it's going to be tricky.
It's tricky, but
yeah.
As we are loosening up, we are opening the doors back up. Obviously with a whole lot of safety measures involved. Mm-hmm. But again, we're starting to get things back going again, and we're really excited to see people.
Yeah. Awesome. Any other suggestions, resources, or anything else people can access?
I mean, I could go on for hours. The Clean Art Guild, very close to home, has a website, and they have art displayed here all the time. It is a local group of people that are amateur artists that have a gallery downtown in Killeen, mm-hmm. and they're a wonderful group of people.
They did our mural behind the chamber, the right. Fort Hood mural. So they do a lot of y'all's backdrops, right, at the theater.
They absolutely do.
Gorgeous work.
And
yeah.
I'm hoping that they'll do. We have our season opener for next year, which season tickets are on sale next week. So if you'd like to purchase your season tickets for next year, please do. But our season opener is a little play called Something Rotten. It's not little. It's enormous. And I'm hoping I can get them back over to help us with some backdrops for that show as well.
Yeah. Can you talk about your next season? Do you have, are you allowed to announce any of those yet? Or are you guys still?
I am. We're ready to go. We are opening the season with Something Rotten, which is a hilarious musical. It's one of my favorites. Obviously everyone talks about Hamilton, but Something Rotten came out the same year, and it's brilliant. It's about 2 brothers that want to be writers during the Renaissance. Only Shakespeare's in the way, and Shakespeare played as this like rock star in a leather doublet, and he's got an entourage that follows him around. So the 2 brothers can't break through because Shakespeare's obviously better than everyone else, and so they go to a soothsayer. The soothsayer's like, "You should write a musical," but nobody's ever heard of musicals before because they haven't been invented yet. So soothsayer goes through this whole thing and has a vision, and during the vision he says, "You should write a play. The greatest play ever written will be Omelette." So they write Omelette the musical, complete with girls in tap dancing egg costumes. It's hilarious. And at the very end of the play, the soothsayer is on stage, and Shakespeare walks by and says, "Hamlet, the Prince of Denmark," and the soothsayer goes, "Hamlet! That was the greatest."
Oh no.
So it's a whole comedy of errors, and it's wonderful and heartwarming and great. Yeah. We will do Annie Jr. with the kids in the fall. We are doing A Christmas Carol at Christmas time. So a nice classic for the whole family to come out and enjoy. Jasmine Suino, Michelle's daughter, is actually going to come over and direct a beautiful, absolutely beautiful romantic comedy called Almost Maine, just in time for Valentine's Day. We are doing Moana Junior. So I know, I'm so excited.
Oh my
And they won't
gosh.
let me play anything in the junior productions. I'm like, can't I just go out and sing with the kids? And they're like, no.
Can I be the turtle? I don't mind.
I know. I want to play with the coconuts.
Yeah.
Then we are doing a play that is called Once on This Island, which is largely African-American cast. And I'm super excited about it. It's got some of the best music. It's about a little girl that dreams of going to the other side of the island, and she's surrounded by all these gods and goddesses of the sea. It's really fantastic.
Awesome.
We are tentatively doing The Importance of Being Earnest, which is a classic comedy. And our season closer is Bring It On, the musical, which is also written by a little-known human, Lin-Manuel Miranda. Who
Really?
wrote Hamilton.
Okay.
He did the book and lyrics for it, so, which we're excited about it just because I love Bring It On anyway, the movie. Again, they won't let me cheer, which makes me angry. They're like, "You're too old. Go back to your office."
Aw,
But
that's awesome. Lots of Lynn.
Should be a fun season, and we're really, really, really excited about it.
Great. Yeah. VLA always does great productions, and I've been a season member for years and love going to see everybody. But you know, the great thing about community theater is just seeing people you know, or even people you don't know, coming together to create this beautiful work of art. And it's a lot of work. It's hours and hours of rehearsal and building and painting, and it's so much work, but you see it all pay off, and it turns into this beautiful project. So props to you guys. No pun intended.
It's fun work, I will say that. I mean, they call what we do plays, and so that's what we feel like when we're up here, is that we're just playing all the time.
Yeah.
It's a really great opportunity
for
all of us. We're excited.
And once this all, calms down, are you guys going to be offering any classes? I know in the past you've done dancing and acting classes for folks who want to get involved and stuff.
Well, we are starting in the fall for high school students, once or twice a week. I'm not sure. We haven't completely nailed it down. An acting class for high school students that will meet here at the theater that I'm teaching. I was an educator for 20 years.
Oh, wow.
Prior to becoming the executive director here, and I miss working with kids. So we're going to offer that service. We are actually hoping that we can start dance lessons up here as well. I've got a couple of volunteers who would like to start that just for the community to come in. We had Something Rotten, and it's a huge tap show. So over the summer, we're going to try to get some tap classes available for our anybody that wants to come up and participate, so that we can put on a huge tap show for Something Rotten.
Oh, that's cute.
All of that information will be available on our website and on Facebook. So follow us on Facebook.
Awesome. I know I have been very excited personally by the artists, musicians that I follow that have been doing these free concerts and live streaming, acoustic shows. That's really kept my spirits up personally. And then, just like you said, there's so many resources, museums, organizations, everybody's doing live theater, live, a look into the art or the displays. South by Southwest recently released their movie or their independent film collection to Amazon, and that's free whether you're a member or not for a limited time. So if you are a film buff, I watched a documentary the other night. It was great. You can check some of those out and support those artists. And there's a lot of benefits happening for artists in museums or musicians and everything too. So try to keep supporting these folks who can't, get out there and put on shows, because that's how they make money.
Absolutely. So this is something I obviously have several friends in the entertainment industry on Broadway in New York, and they were in the middle of working jobs that they thought were going to be steady for at least the run of that show, and they were immediately shut down and canceled. And remember, these people now can't pay rent, they can't go buy groceries, their jobs are shut down. And I know that's happening around the world, and it's happening to more people than just in the entertainment industry, which seems like such fluff right now. But how many of us go home every day to look to the television, to look to film, to look to art, to try to escape from what's happening in the world? And so obviously it's dear to me, but we should also be thinking about these people. Broadway Cares Equity Fights AIDS has taken, which is a huge organization that was started in the 80s to help battle the AIDS crisis that was happening at the time and still is. But they're also doing huge fundraisers to try to take care of the actors and the stage crew and the dressers and the people that you don't see when you go see these theatrical productions that are now crazily out of a job and unable to get another one because no one's hiring.
And a lot of these folks were already living show to show, or, you know, like it's kind of like contract work. Like you've got a job for this amount of time and then you've got to find another one. So
and then you have to find, exactly.
Yeah. So if you're able to help, obviously, you know, we're all kind of struggling right now, but anything you can do, and closer to home, I think in Austin, HAM is doing a lot. They're, you know, the organization that provides health insurance for local artists in that area. So it's kind of a co-op. Anything you can do, I think, helps in this time. So awesome. I did want to just circle back around to something you said at the beginning, Jami. You mentioned that you've been doing some mediocre painting, and I think it's important that we encourage everybody to try to do something creative, even if you don't think it's a Picasso and you don't think it's great. Anything that you do is working that creative muscle, and it's getting you excited about something, and it's teaching you something new. So even if it's not, you know, you're not a master painter or dancer or whatever, I encourage folks to just try to create and try to be active in whatever way you can, because that's going to get us all through this stuff. So
that's an excellent point.
I 100% agree. There's health-wise, if you're not creating something, if you're not taking care of yourself, if you're not getting enough sleep, like Ursula talked about, if you're not taking the right foods in, if you're not using all the parts of your body, which creativity is one of them, then I think that you're doing a disservice to yourself. So get out there and do something fun and set yourself. And even if it is mediocre, which I would it is mediocre at best, but it was still, I had a great time doing it. And I mean, the other day I realized that my entire, I have a privacy fence in my backyard, and my entire privacy fence was just brown. And I hated it. So I painted giant sunflowers all up and down one side.
Oh, I love that.
And away from the 24-hour news media.
Yeah.
And they look fine.
I've been seeing that, though, like beautiful murals on the sides of fences. I love that.
Right. Yeah. And well, that's what I did behind my garden that I've been working on. So, you know, think about what you have around the house. You don't have to go out and spend $1 million. You don't have to have all of the best stuff. I just used what I had in my garage and had fun outside.
You can make paint too out of food and dyes, and, you know, Google it. But not just painting though. You can learn how to create products, or, you know, you can even you can chalk your walk, which is what we're encouraging folks to do to kind of show appreciation. So get creative and think of new ideas and stuff. Speaking of murals, we kind of touched on this earlier, but we do have a few murals in Killeen. And if you're in the Killeen area, there's other public art, not just in Killeen, but other surrounding cities. So if you're needing to get out and you want to see some art, that's another great way to fulfill that, you know.
There's even the outdoor sculpture garden in Salado that's beautiful. We've taken picnics out there with the kids and just walked around and done art and eaten picnics, and the kids go swimming in the creek afterwards. It's
nature and art. See, we're bringing it all together.
Right.
And then you can run up the hill and get your exercise in.
which you wrote down in your planner that you're
Yes,
going to do, right?
exactly.
Exactly.
Implementing all these things. Yeah, I love it. Well, folks, if you're watching and you have any other questions, we're getting towards the end. Please send those to us now. Or if you have any other suggestions you want to share with folks. Ladies, this has been great. I'm so inspired. Do you guys have any closing thoughts or anything else you want to add before we sign off?
Oh, I wanted to ask Jami, you said you're still doing Beauty and the Beast Junior?
She asked Jami if you're still doing Beauty and the Beast Junior.
We are, for sure. And that will open June 4th, and it'll run for 2 weekends. We'll do 6 shows, Friday night, Saturday night, and a Sunday matinee at 2:30.
I'm looking forward to that.
We are starting rehearsals next week with the governor opening the city back up, or the state back up a little bit. We are slowly and very carefully having the kids come back in to have rehearsals. So we'll, we're hand sanitizing everybody when they come in, and we'll do the forehead temperature check, and the kids will still maintain social distancing, and they're staying away from everybody. And we have very specific plans set in place for that. But we're hoping that slowly everybody's going to start getting back into the groove of things, and we'll start. And so we're starting rehearsals, and we'll have that show on June 4th. We're very excited about it.
I'm excited. I love how you're making it work. You're taking all the safety things into consideration, but you're still finding a way to put on the show.
Mm-hmm. The show must go on.
The show must go on.
Exactly.
We'll be doing Matilda, which is a wonderful play, in July. So the weekend after the 4th of July, which is the 10th, I believe. Which, if you haven't seen Matilda or read the book, the Roald Dahl wrote the book to Matilda 100 years ago. It's wonderful. It's the same guy that wrote Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and The Big Friendly Giant. Wrote a book called Matilda about a little girl that overthrows everything. And I'm so excited to do the play. It's hilarious.
The movie was so cute. Yeah. So I'm excited to see that one.
And this one's the musical version of that, basically.
Oh, good.
So
awesome. Yeah. The Frozen Junior was adorable. So seeing the kids do the little, acting out the Disney are my favorite, but
I love it.
They're so cute.
I'm excited about Moana for next year.
Yeah. Oh, I love that
I
movie.
also really love the shadow cast. Are there any more of those in the future?
She asked, are there any more shadow cast in the future?
That was awesome.
We are, we don't have any scheduled at the moment, but I really want to do The Greatest Showman as soon as possible.
Yes.
Yes.
And if you don't know what a shadow cast is, a shadow cast, if you've gone to any shadow cast, you probably heard of Rocky Horror Picture Show. Around Halloween, they'll do live actors that are acting out the product or the film while the film is showing in the back. We've done burlesque, we've done Rocky Horror, we've done several of these shadow casts, but I'm obsessed with The Greatest Showman. I would watch those people sing and dance for hours.
Yes.
I completely agree. So I want to schedule that in. We're trying to work on when we can fit it in between productions for next year. And it'll be in the fall.
Yes.
Well, I'm excited to see what is in store for VLA. You guys have an exciting season coming up, and I know you're just going to try to grow your programs as time goes on. I hope that this whole pandemic didn't put things behind too much, and that goes for everybody. Hopefully we're all able to bounce back and support each other. Will says, what a great live stream. Thank you all for taking the time to share your knowledge with us. And absolutely, ladies, thank you so much for sharing, your insights. And this has been very inspiring for me. I just want to add as kind of a closing thought to everybody that's listening. I know it can seem overwhelming right now, and maybe the prospect of taking on a new project or hobby is just not within your reach right now. If you're overwhelmed and you're just trying to make it through the day, or just getting out of bed is a chore, I just want to, impress upon everyone to have grace with yourself and do what you can and try to encourage yourself. These are just meant to be suggestions and ideas for when you're ready. So if you're able to, learn a new hobby, great. And if you're able to, take on a new skill or learn something new, that's what we're just trying to help everybody do. So, all right. Well, thank you so much, ladies. This has been fun. And we will hopefully see you soon after all this.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.